This is McNelly.
I'm Kay Tuxford, and yeah, that's us.
We're doing a thing. So the idea of this is, I hate it when you crowdfund and you're just sort of on this island of like the people that you know, and you're like,
Yes.
okay, help me out, and they'll retweet and everything. But then there's these other campaigns going on, and there's two types of people. There's the, hey, let's cross promote, and then there's the, oh dear God, no, they might steal some of my people. And
Uh,
I think the first one is the only correct one.
I agree, which is probably why we're here, and I'm not like stay back.
Right.
No, I think the people who support indie films support more than just your indie film. You know, they want to do something, and they want to make a change, and they want to see other great stuff out there. So
Yeah.
for them, it's just a buffet.
Yeah, and I think there's, if I gave like $50 to a friend's campaign, and then I heard about this other campaign, I might not give them $50. I'm probably not going to give my friend another $50, depending on my finances, but I might give that person $10, and it all
And
adds up.
and none of us are above $10.
No,
In
no,
fact,
none of us are.
I understand you recently got a lot of $1 donations.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that is. I got $201 donations from the same person. So
Does somebody
either
hate you?
they might hate me. It might be the equivalent of paying in change for something. It might be a scam of some sort, although I don't know what the scam is. I'm assuming that $200 is not coming through when it's time to process payments. So we have to raise, I think, an extra $200, but whatever.
Well, I mean, I'm curious on that one too, but I guess we'll know if that
For a minute,
sucks.
I got very excited because I was like, "Oh my goodness, look at all these new backers!" And then I was like, "Oh, it's the same person, just over and over and over."
having some sort of electronic seizure. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So
Well, I don't know you too much other than you are running a crowdfunding campaign. I'm running a crowdfunding campain. We're both wearing headphones. We figured out how to get our faces on Restream. Like these are the basics. So we're basically best friends now.
Exactly.
But who are you, really, and what do you do?
Wait, okay, hold on. I accidentally went over to YouTube to see if it was working, and then I totally got an echo, so I missed the very end of that.
I said, who are you?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let's do a recap. Anybody who knows me is going to be like, we don't know that guy.
Yeah.
So let's meet you.
I'm Lucas McNelly. I live in Maine, on the lovely coast of Maine. And like 10 years ago, I did a project called A Year Without Rent. That's probably what I'm best known for, where I spent a year traveling the country, volunteering on independent film sets of all shapes and sizes. And the deal was I would do whatever you needed. I was a gaffer. I was a grip. I was a PA. I was the guy who got coffee. I was on one. I sat on a street corner and guarded a light for 4 hours. Because, hey, someone's got to guard the light for 4 hours. And the deal was that I would do that, and then you had to find me a place to sleep, and then I would eat craft services. And my second, so then, and stopped sleeping on couches, except for when I pissed off my wife a lot. And then now my second feature is out and hitting festivals, and I'm fundraising for my third feature, Maine Noir, which is a noir. I'm sure you figured that out already. It's about a woman who finds $3 million hidden in the wall of her house, and somebody would like it back.
Naturally.
And so it gets a little dark from there. There's the wow, $3 million moment, which is very short-lived.
Nice.
So we're crowdfunding $45,000 to shoot that here on the coast of Maine, because it turns out there's not a lot of people on the coast of Maine, so you have to import everybody, and you have to import all the gear.
Got it.
So it gets it's a little harder to get people to work for free, because they're like, I'll help you for free. I've never been on a film set before. And you're like, okay, that's great, but
you can watch a light.
Well, you can guard the light for a couple hours. We're not going to put you in charge of anything important.
Right.
That requires experience.
Adulting of any sort.
Yeah,
okay.
That sort of thing. Yeah, so we've raised just shy of 18,000, and we have 8 days to go.
Okay, so if anyone's
we're in pretty
tuning,
good shape, but not as good a shape as you, because you have big news.
Yes. We just hit our 80% funding as of like about an hour ago. So on Seed and Spark, that counts as the green light, which means we get to keep the money. On some crowdfunding like Seed and Spark, you have to make your total, or Indiegogo, you make it as you go along. But Kickstarter, you have to make your total. Indiegogo, you can make it as you go along. And Seed and Spark is like split the difference. You have to make at least 80%. Or you don't see the money at all and you weep. So trying not to do that. But anyway, we don't have to. Which I'm getting used to that, because I've spent as you know, I've spent days and days going, okay, if this scenario happens, then this scenario, then this scenario, then this scenario. And now it's like, oh, it's happening. It's happening.
That's awesome. Is this your first campaign? Have you done other campaigns before?
I have. Some of you may recall I was on a Seed and Spark campaign in 2000. It's been ages. There was a pandemic between 2017 for a project called The Miseducation of Bindu. We were one of the first round of Hometown Heroes.
I remember the Hometown Heroes.
Yes, and we won the grand prize with another project called Drought, and we made our movie. So that was my first film. I was the writer on it. And wardrobe. I did writing and wardrobe. That's like a true indie spirit there.
Yeah.
Because as you know, for an indie film, it's hard to just like pay the writer to come on set and just stare at things. But if you're getting actors dressed and undressed and fixing a script, it's kind of like then you can kind of justify. Yeah, you can justify it.
Yeah.
But I like to say I'm really good at wardrobe, even though that's probably not my calling. Because every time I put an article of clothing on people, I'm like, okay, you're recently divorced. Your wife picked out this jacket. It's a little small because you don't want to admit maybe you haven't been taking care of yourself since you left. And yeah,
plus so you don't want to pick out a new jacket.
You don't. I don't. But they don't need to know that.
No, the character doesn't want to pick out a new jacket.
Yeah, because she bought it for him.
That's an admission.
Yeah.
That he isn't going to get back in shape ever.
Yeah. No.
And that
exactly.
That high school weight is gone.
It's gone.
It's gone, and it's never coming back.
I feel like you're channeling something here as well. It's too honest. It's too, okay. I get it. Yeah. So I did that and really had a great time. We made a lovely film. We just got distribution in what's that place? February, I think.
Cool.
So Mar Vista picked us up, and hopefully we'll be streaming one day. It will be magic.
Nice.
Yeah. So as a writer, I'm done with that and moving on to other projects. And then
that's somebody else's problem now.
I am. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, Mar Vista, you figured this out. You put a ring on it. And like you, we were doing film festivals and everything in the middle of the pandemic. How did that affect yours? Hasn't gone out yet, or yours is like in this year's round of film festivals?
Okay. Yeah, it's waiting. So, it's waiting for a festival to declare it good enough, or not, to play.
Interesting.
We're waiting for a premiere is the official way to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, and so then I thought, well, this is the best time to do a new film because no one has seen the old film, and they always say that's the best time that's when you're at your hottest, is when no one has seen your movie yet.
I wish. Then I should have crowdfunded like a year and a half ago.
Maybe.
Why didn't you tell me?
There was a pandemic. What are you gonna do?
I know.
There's still a pandemic.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Is I started using the past tense for pandemic. I'm like, we had a pandemic, and then
it's over. I was like, oh no,
it's not over. It's not over at all. And so okay, yeah. So that sounds lovely for Maine Noir. And if anyone is tuning in, please check out Lucas's project, because this man lives in Maine, and there's not a lot of people in Maine that aren't. It seems like kind of on the crazy side based on you and Stephen King novels. I'm led to believe you got to be weird to live in Maine.
You have to be a little weird to live in Maine because there's a lot of winter.
Yeah.
And a lot of tourists, but we kind of play up the weird thing to keep the tourists out.
It works. I've never gone to Maine.
Right. Yeah. Even though we rely on them for a large portion of our industry, we don't like them very much. So there was a petition years ago. I'm not sure it was a real petition because it came from a comedian to just have somebody at the border just collect their money and then give them some T-shirts that say Maine on them. And then we'll just distribute the money throughout the state.
That's good.
And save everybody the trouble.
That's good because that's what people are doing. They're just getting, hey, Jake's settler
Jake.
is pro Maine. That's good to know, Jake. I won't fight you on that.
Although I wouldn't fight him. He was a Marine. I wouldn't fight him.
Oh, well, that's definitely not happening. When asked by my army recruiter at my school, they're like, "Do you want to be in the army?" I'm like, "Do I have to listen to other people and do what they say?" And they're like, "Yes, that's basically army." I was like, "Hell no."
Yeah.
So no. I probably reaped the benefit of that laziness as well. So.
Well, there you go.
There you go. So good job, Jake. Yeah.
So for your campaign, do you have stretch goals? You have a lot of time left, right?
Yeah. So
are you doing the thing? Let me ask the first question that I always ask people when they hit their goal quickly. Army Airborne. Okay. So at a moment, did you think we should have gone for more?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I am having moments of that, but
bird in the hand, but then also you're like
we definitely have been talking about stretch goals. My team really at this point is myself, and I have a producing partner, Julia White, who is a little afraid of social media. So I'll give her a nod here and she'll be like, how do I click the like button? I'm going to get a call later and she'll be like, how do I do this? But she's a really great producer.
Is this my mother?
Yes, it's your mother in the body of a 25-year-old woman. Yeah,
perfect.
It's weird, but it works. Anyway, so I had a thought process, which is when we did Bindu, we raised $62,000 on.
Oh, wow.
It was, but we also had a really, really big team. We had a director, a producer. We had, I think, a team of 5, and in fact, my director is from India. And so literally I would be do the American tour during the day on socials. And then about 8:00, India starts waking up and she would just stay up all night, contacting India and pushing it. And then we had a cinematographer in Spain. So when different time zones hit, we were just give us money. We love you. Give us money. And we were able to kind of push that out. But since it's just me, I really didn't want to set the campaign up for potentially, I don't want to say failure, but potentially assume we're going to make as much. Truth is I don't have as many contacts on the ground. And so I didn't want to do that. And additionally, what we're really doing right now is it's just pre-production money. We're actually going to start casting and then also go out to investors from there. So I'm in talks with some casting directors. And so it's just getting a lot of those people to say yes. And then that will help the project, because then we'll go out and get some private investments and prove to people that we're adults and we can make a movie and we're totally responsible. But we are going to do stretch goals as well.
You can.
What?
Can you budget what you think your all-in budget is going to be roughly, or are you not supposed to say that? Or are you not at the point yet where you're not supposed to say that?
I'm not at the point yet where I've been told not to say that. I will say that we probably need to get, I would estimate probably at least about $40,000 more before we can go into production.
Mm-hmm. That sounds about right.
Yeah. And then from there, we may be doing stuff for post, another post campaign or something like that as we go along, if we need more from there. But as soon as I get enough to go into production, we're just going into production, getting it done in the can. Yeah, exactly.
That's
I know they're always it's it's the same thing. A lot of people are like, wait till you have all the money. You're you got to kind of because if I can edit, I know people, I can start getting it pieced together if need be. Although I rather, hire people who are better at post than me. But I don't want to wait on it. And I'm glad you feel the same way, because I feel like a lot of people are always kind of just waiting to have all their funds in, and studio films aren't like that either. They don't get all their funds in one go. So there's no reason you have to have the full dollar amount either.
I think that if you wait for all the money to come in, you're always going to be waiting for more money to come in.
Absolutely.
And there's always going to be someone who says, well, we have a maybe from this actor, but maybe we can get this other actor. And then, but we would need a little more money, or we need a little more money for this. And then I think you can look up and it's 5 years later and the movie's dead.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
easily.
Exactly. And
I was listening to Dan Mervish. Do you know Dan?
I don't know Dan.
One of the Slam Dance guys.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
So I was listening to him on I'm gonna say her name wrong. Her podcast, and he was saying that, you can sort of do that where you sort of maybe yourself to death waiting for the perfect situation, and he sort of has learned that over time, and I might be butchering this, if you just pick a start date in the future and you say this is the day we're going to start shooting, that people will either get on board or they won't get on board.
Yeah.
And it's a deadline, and it's easier maybe to get actors because you can say, well, we're going to shoot for this week. This is when we need you. Are you available this week? And then it's not a question. It's like a sales thing where it's yes or no, as opposed to what do you think? And it's, so that's kind of what we've been doing.
I agree wholeheartedly. On our last project, up until like a month or two before, we didn't even know if we get to shoot in the state we were supposed to shoot in. We hadn't gotten a school. Ours was a high school movie, and it was down to either we were going to find a school in Indiana, and that was the goal and the plan all along, or we were going to like go to Florida, because Florida apparently was like, yeah, whatever, shoot a film here, we don't care.
I think we've seen that Florida is very lax.
They're very lax
in several things.
And my mother looked up like Google Maps and saw that there was like a body of water next to the high school, and she's like, it must have alligators. They're going to eat you. You're going to die. And luckily, Indiana won out, and we ended up filming in there, and I didn't die. So
which is ideal. Yeah,
it is ideal. It is the best scenario of all the scenarios. So I want to, since we have people in here listening in, they know about Maine Noir. I haven't mentioned the pitch of delivery.
Pitch your movie, man. Do it.
Yeah, so I'm not necessarily, I'm like a deer in the headlights when it comes to pitching, but basically, this is actually inspired by when my first film project got out and I was going to film festivals. As you probably know, to actually go to film festivals and represent yourself, you kind of have to get yourself there. And, even there's some really nice festivals that will offer you like discounts in lodging or, a little bit of airfare to get there. Usually, it's kind of up to you to figure out how to feed yourself, get there, survive. And so what I ended up doing was I would rent a car in every town I was in, and I would do Postmates. And I would basically get enough to be able to afford the film festival I was at. And when I wasn't screening my movie, I was like around these different cities, and I was delivering burgers to people. So, until my movie was screening. And so I got into basically meeting the community of like gig workers wherever I went, and kind of seeing the ups and downs of like being a gig worker. A lot of these people were like living out of their cars. A lot of these people, like, they would have like a big bonus program for the weekend, and people would just basically drive 78 hours straight to try to make ends meet. Yeah, it was really brutal. And, so I ended up, while I was driving and traveling, coming up with this story of this gig worker who lives in Southern California, lives out of her car, and is trying to save up enough money to basically go home and rescue her younger sister from an abusive home. And so the story is all just set up in one weekend. We spend most of our time in the car with her, where she lives, drives, and like her entire life occurs. And then, some of those chance encounters she has with people through the weekend. I don't want to spoil anything, but let's just say it gets exciting.
It's not just an hour and a half of someone driving around.
No, of course
not. Not a Matthew McConaughey ad for a car.
Exactly. Like, for example, she since she is working off of the fixed income and trying to save all of her money, she goes onto Tinder. She normally dates women. She goes onto Tinder, switches it to men so she can go on a date to get a cheeseburger for example, and the guy ends up getting sloppy drunk and she has to drive him home.
Sure.
And on the way they get an order, and now she's like babysitting a drunk guy and trying to deliver cheese fries. So it's things like that, where we're not just going to be, listening to tunes and podcasts in the car. I promise.
So I had a friend who used Tinder to get photography gigs.
I believe that.
It was brilliant, and they shut him down eventually. So he would just post headshots, like these great headshots he would take of people, and just set himself up to match with everybody. And then people would look at him and go, "Oh, those are cool photos."
Like, do you want these cool? I can make you cool.
So much work.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's brilliant. I wish I had thought of that. So where are you going to shoot this? Is it LA? It looks like LA from the picture.
It's actually Orange County, which is just south of LA. It's not because, I love LA. I actually live in Orange County myself. So a lot of these locations are places that I have like a relationship with. And also I think oftentimes when we think of like LA, we think of, we're going down Hollywood Boulevard. There's Capitol Records. Here's Grauman's. But what's really interesting about when you get to all of these kind of like non-flashy places is it's a really different side of California. We have oil derricks everywhere, on the side of the road. We have, people living in mansions and people living in like mobile homes side by side. It's a really strange combination of rich and obviously some people who are much poorer. And so it's a little bit different than the look of LA, and it does kind of focus on like more localized businesses and stuff here. So it's just this way. It kind of feels, I think sometimes people think of California and they're like, oh, California, everybody there is so they look a certain way, they act a certain way, they're all in the film business. But truthfully, a lot of California is just like every other place. You have middle-class families, kids going to school, public school, people trying to do their job, make ends meet. So we're going to try to show more of that working class.
So it's, so did you write the script with locations in mind where you're like, I know Jimmy and Jimmy will let me shoot here?
Yes.
For nothing or for very little?
Yes. I have a couple that are like hopes and dreams. There's a local place called Volcano Burger that I'm still like trying to like work up the courage to be like, listen, it doesn't have to be Volcano Burger, but I'm like, there's something about you and I need it to be you. And I'm trying. It's a great name. And it's like this older burger shop in my neighborhood, and they have like outside dining. Like it's the type of thing where you go to the window and then you have to go sit down and they call your name and that's your existence. And I love places like that because you can't really like recreate them. Right. So obviously if that stuff like that falls through, then we have other options. But the really good news is I've actually filmed in the city of Cypress, which is where I live in Orange County. And though I'm sure they're a little annoyed with me, like I do have a relationship with the city, and permitting in Orange County is much different than permitting in LA. I'm sure you've heard about permitting in LA is pretty nuts.
I've been on those sets. Yeah.
Yeah. Orange County is actually, each permitting is done city by city in Orange County. So like if you're in Buena Park, which is like Knott's Berry Farm, like you just go to the city of Buena Park. You're not dealing with like the whole county like LA. Right. And so some places like my alma mater is Chapman University. It's actually free. It's free to film in houses and stuff there. It's just a matter of what you want to pay the renter. And you can get a basic permit for little to nothing or free. And so things like that can vary quite a bit as far as like what you can use and how much it's going to cost, which is always a plus. Well, in Maine, I'm pretty sure it's probably similar, which is that you have to kind of work with your community. No. What happens in Maine?
There are no permits in Maine.
Everybody, we got to go to Maine.
There are filming permits in Portland only, because Portland's the biggest city. It's really kind of the only city. But Portland has permits, and then everywhere else there's no permits. So you can, you want to talk to probably the town and give them a heads up maybe, but you don't have to. Like we shot my last film, we shot it in the woods in northern Maine, and we just didn't tell anybody.
You were just some guys in the woods?
Yeah, we just walked into the woods with a camera, and some equipment and some actors, and then just shot the movie. And then I think someone asked, they're like, what did you do about permits? I'm like, there's no permits to get. It's just land. So we're filming here in a town, but we're filming in my hometown. So I know everybody. And I organize all the road races in the town anyway. And I don't get permits. I don't even need permits for those unless we close a street, but we never have to close a street. So literally, for the road races, I just email the police chief and I go, hey, here's the date of the road race. He goes, this sounds great. Do you need anything? I'm like, not really, no. He's like, okay. We'll have somebody drive around, make sure like no one's getting mugged. But no one is going to get mugged because it's a town of 5,000 people.
Yeah, you'd know your mugger. You'd be like, Steve, stop it. Give my wallet back.
Like, we went to high school together, man. Chill.
Like, this is revenge.
Yeah, okay. So there's like, it doesn't cost anything to film anywhere.
That's great.
Like, locations. Like, if you shoot in LA, they like have that rate card sometimes, you know, where they're like, well, if you want this many hours, it's if you want to use the whole restaurant. Here, you're just like, hey, can we shoot in your restaurant while you're not busy? And they're like, yeah, sure.
That's great.
Because there's not a lot of productions here.
Yeah, so that's the thing we found with our last project in Indiana. Everyone was like, ooh, a movie. This is exciting.
Yeah.
We ended up filming outside in front of a house. And we had access to the house, but we didn't have, permits for the street. And the neighborhood blocked off the streets so that we could move the camera back and take a bigger shot in the street. And they were just like, this is fun.
Yeah, why not?
And in LA, we're like, no more filming.
Yeah, if you get into a small town like that or just anywhere outside of major filming areas, it's so cool for the people in the town.
Yeah.
And, it's not going to happen again for 10 years maybe. And so they're like, yeah, just block the street off, man. Just park the car sideways and shut off traffic. People will deal.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can recruit them to be in it, and it's great.
Yeah, and then they're like, I've been immortalized in film forever.
Yeah.
That's it. And
I had a guy come up to me the other day. He's like, hey, do you need extras for your movie? And I'm like, yeah, probably, sure. He's like, because like in high school, I could have been in The Man Without a Face, the Mel Gibson movie from 1990, whatever. And he's like, I didn't want to cut my hair because I was in high school. And so I didn't do it. And then like this other guy, he did it, and he would just always have the VHS, and we'd always pause it and show where he was in The Man Without a Face, or he's like in the background, probably blurry, whatever, for like 1 second. And he's like, oh, he's bugged me. And I always won. I was like, oh, I should have done it. I should have cut my hair. So now I'm going to try to get him a line in the movie.
Yeah,
I think that way he could show up his friend.
Yeah, you need that. Yeah, you need to give him a memorable line, like, a quotable or something. He can be like, when they see him, they can be like, it's the guy.
It's Steve.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, maybe make him into a GIF. Something like that.
That would like be his dream right there. You would have, he can retire now. Like, he's just like, I wanted life. It's great. Yeah. Our last project, since it was high school, we needed to, like, it was during the summer in Indiana. So we got around a lot of child filming actor safety laws because they're not in school. And their parents were there. We weren't like exploiting them. Yeah. We weren't like exploiting them and being like child work.
You're like, go into the mine.
But a lot of these people, it was just like a volunteer basis, and they had to sit in one room and eat pizza and wait for their scenes while I think we played like a bunch of old musicals for them on a big screen. There was a lot of like Singing in the Rain. I remember just like on repeat one day, and I was like, who's doing this to you? No, and they were all like happy to be there. They would show up day in and day out, and like one girl got this little bit in where she got to peek out from like the girls' shower in the locker room, fully attired.
Yeah.
And note what the main character was doing, and then put the curtain back. And she afterwards, she told me, she's like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And I was like, I was so touched. I loved it so much. And I was like, here's somebody who waited 3-4 days to have her moment on camera. And for her, she went to bed. I knew she went to bed that night and just snuggled up and said, did it. Good job. High five me. I love it.
Because if I'm on a set and they're like, and I've been on a lot of sets, and if they're like, hey, we need someone to be an extra, I'm like, I'll do it. I'll do it. What do you want me to do? I'm in.
That's how our personalities are different. Because I'm usually like, hiding behind the crafty, and they're like, hey, did you just get shorter? And I'm like, don't look at me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always like, yeah, just put me in, like, hide me somewhere. I'm always trying to figure out, like, the director cameo.
Nice.
That sort of thing, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm not an actor. I have no actor ambitions. Like, I know that if you want me to do more than being the guy sitting in the chair, then that is a bad idea for everybody involved. But I can be the guy sitting in the chair. Or if you need someone to curse at a bunch of people, I can do that. I can do sort of the poor man's Larry David thing.
Okay.
I could do that, but that's it. If you
how's your mugging? Like, like the
I can
Larry
do a little
David?
bit of that. Yeah.
Okay. That's
that sort of thing. But I'm very self-conscious about it, so it doesn't go great. It takes me a lot of takes to get there.
Okay.
So it's not great for the schedule.
In film school, I did have to be an extra, but I wasn't. Not all of me was cast, just my chest. Because I was doing a close-up shot. They were doing
they have a different name for that.
It was like this girl. It was a high school story as well, and the girl was going down high school, and she was noticing like all these girls were like all these boobs and crotches because she was just like, "What is sex?" And like I was like boob number 3 or something. And
please tell me that was your credit in the credits.
It should be. I don't know if Pratna is watching this, but Pratna, can we fix that?
Like you really need that on your IMDb page.
I know. And I was like, oh, it's fine. And then we showed it in our theater at the big school, and it was just massive. My massive cleavage for like 2 seconds. But I was just like, all right, I'm done with being an extra. I've given all I can give.
You're like, that's enough for me.
I mean, full movie screen. It was fine, like on a phone.
Yeah. Yeah, on the monitor, you're like, oh, that's not so bad. Yeah, that would be mortifying. Anything like that where you're like blown up huge and it's a close up.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's as long as I'm not a close up, I can live with it.
I don't know how actors do that.
They're brave souls, or just love seeing themselves. They have like a little pretty bird complex, but they're like, ooh, look at that.
They might.
That's good. Who looks good? You look good. And that's, I think, what's called a self-esteem, which you and I probably don't have.
No, I don't have any self-esteem.
So good for them. Maybe not great for us.
No, I'm from New England. We don't have self-esteem here.
No, but you guys do have curse words, and you're very passionate about your lobsters.
Very passionate about our lobsters. We're very good at cursing. We're very good at shoveling snow.
That's okay. So I'm originally from Arizona.
Oh.
And our hobbies are telling everybody they've never experienced heat like our heat.
Mm-hmm.
And then also like affectionately talking about the poisonous animals that live in our desert. We're like, it's a scorpion. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a thing in the script for Maine Noir where because the woman is from Texas and she inherits the house. And so she's like, I don't need anyone to plow my driveway or whatever it is.
That sounds a little like an innuendo, but keep going.
Yeah, he's like, you do. You're gonna want someone to plow your driveway by like mid-December. You'll be over it.
Yeah.
Like it's very cute that you think the winter's not gonna be that bad, but trust me, lady, it's gonna be bad, and you're gonna want all the help you can get.
You're gonna need a guy.
You're not gonna have enough firewood. That's a big hobby here is making sure you have enough firewood. Not even enough. You have to have too much firewood. Do
you guys like compare, like take pictures and you're like, look at my firewood cord?
Not really. Yeah. It's more you take a picture and I'll send it to my brother. But like, do you think that's going to be enough? And he's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe. Should probably get some more. And then.
Do you guys have like a fireplace going like 24/7? Like, is there
pretty much. Yeah. You have the wood stove going most of the time in the winter.
Nice. Okay.
The cats love it.
Oh, of course. Okay, this is important. Cat roll call. How many cats?
My wife is kind of obsessed with cats, so we have a lot of cats. Let me think. I'm gonna have to count them in my head. Okay, I'll just count them out loud. Cause fuck it. There's Brimley, and Charlie, and Miss Margot, and Wobbles, and Devin and Tilly and Vesper. So we have 7 cats now.
Wow, I'm Team Wobbles just on name alone.
Wobbles has
hyperplasia.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah,
he has it. So he has no real control over himself. He has a Twitter, he has an Instagram account and everything. And he's just sort of doing this.
Subscribed
all the time.
Yes, I was gonna say they seem so fun and uncoordinated, and I'm like, I can identify with that cat. I don't have hyperplasia, but there are many days where I'm like, how did I walk into that wall? Like, what happened? Yeah. And I feel like I see a cat have the same problem, and I'm like, you and I, we get each other.
Yeah, he has like a lot of muscles now because he's like had to work so hard to like just walk, just to go in a straight line. That he's like bulky. He's like a bodybuilder version of a cat. He's swole. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I feel it's very indicative that I asked you your cat's names before we even like discussed. You have a child. You have a wife.
I have a child, but the cats.
I was like, but cats. That's what's important.
Yeah.
So how did you convince your wife after you were living on a couch for a year or two that like you would be a good spouse for her to settle in with? How did that go?
Well, it didn't go directly from point A to point B. So I did a year without rent, and it nearly killed me. And at the end, I was just like, okay, I got to take like a break. And so I got a normal job here at a startup, and I had been there probably a year when I met her. Okay. So I seemed normal, and I had like a normal Monday through Friday job.
Okay.
And she knew that I was a filmmaker, but like in the abstract.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that cool?
Yeah, I always
find not in the why are there C-stands in my living room way.
Yeah. What is this box of film equipment you have here? Like I have way too many walkie-talkies. Because
why do you have these gels for lights that we don't own? I'm like, well, I might need them. I might need all this ND filter. You don't understand. It's going to come in handy maybe.
And one day it could be sunny in Maine, I swear.
It could be, yeah. And you need all, and I probably don't need the ND filter. But the deal with this was that we wouldn't film in the house. So,
I think that's fair. Because let me guess, you filmed in the house before.
No, we have not actually filmed in our house before.
I have made
my last film we filmed in the woods, and that was before I met her. So
okay,
she hasn't dealt with a film production yet.
So
I might not be married at this time next year. So we'll see.
I mean, anybody who's listening, if you guys want to place bets.
Yeah.
So I did make the mistake of filming in my house once.
Mm-hmm.
And
just once.
No, I was actually producing. It was a short film for a friend, and he was doing very like guerrilla fly by night sort of. He was like, "Oh, we're gonna just go to a friend's house and film there," and I was like, "Okay." So it was like a week or two ahead of time. I was like, "Where does your friend live? Like, let's scout the property. Let's make sure we can get rid of it guerrilla style." He's like, "Oh, it's in Beverly Hills." I was like, "No, we're not doing that." Especially because
it could be a nice location.
No. It could be a wonderful location, but everybody in Beverly Hills knows when a film is going on, and tickets in LA are like $1,000 a pop for not having a permit. So I was like, we're not doing that, especially because it involves a scene with police cars on the driveway. I'm like, it's not all internal.
Oh yeah.
So, so I ended up like calling my city and saying, hey, can I have a bunch of cop cars with guns drawn on my driveway? It'll be a Sunday, and they're like, yeah, we don't care. And so we did it. So because my city was like, yes, lady, like just pay your permit fee, and we'll make sure as your cops did, we'll have a cop drive by to make sure nobody's like being really murdered, and it's good. So that went fine, and years passed, but apparently rumors passed through my neighborhood that it wasn't a film production, it was a giant meth bust. Nice. And so everyone thinks our house is the meth house because we film there.
Nice.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes. So
here we just have meth busts. So then,
which if you ever need to like disguise your film, apparently just have like make it look like SWAT's there, and people are like, oh yeah, probably meth. And
I mean, you could just call in SWAT and film it.
Yeah, I've heard that never has repercussions.
It doesn't go well.
That's yeah. I was gonna say there aren't people who like are going to jail for that or anything. So yeah, let's not do that one. At least make sure it's not your house.
That's the DIY trick that you don't want to use. There's a lot of them that you can get away with, and I've done most of them, but that is not one of them that you want to actually use.
Okay, so for the people listening, let's hear a good DIY.
Oh, let's think of a good DIY trick.
I'm going to think of one too. I asked you first so I could think of one for me.
That's smart. That's really smart. I saw one, so this is like a minor one. I saw a guy take apart a plunger to put on a camera. And he needed something. He was getting light leaking through the past the lens. And so he took a plunger apart and cut it to fit the lens and stuck it on the end of the lens to get the right look.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Okay,
and it did exactly what he needed, and it was like a thing that would have been like $1,000 part.
I hope it was a clean plunger, but
I think they went to the hardware store and bought a plunger.
I have no notes. Yeah, this is excellent.
Yeah, that was one. A lot of just faking shots. So for my first feature, I wanted this shot. It starts in this dome. We shot it in Pittsburgh because that's where I was living. And it starts in this dome area thing that's like a bus station and a train station. And I wanted to shoot there because it just looks cool. And so I tried to do all the official things that you're supposed to do. Like I called the film office, and then they talked to the location. And this took like a week of me trying to get this location. And then they said, no, we don't let anyone film there ever. No productions, no chance, no exceptions. And I'm like, okay. Well, and then I got off the phone. I'm like, well, okay, so we'll just shoot there anyway. We just won't tell them. We'll just get there early in the morning or something. Right. So we got there early in the morning and we shot it. And then, I shit you not, a week later, that Warrior movie with Tom Hardy takes over the entire thing. Shoots for like 3 days there. And I'm like, oh, you motherfuckers. So then we went back and we shot more there.
We had revenge shooting, yeah.
Yeah, and then we made sure we got like the name of the building in the shot and like the name of like a couple other things. So like you normally avoid that, and it was sort of this fuck you, no, we're putting all this information in the film. So it's all in the film. So that's not, I don't know if that's exactly what you were looking for a DIY hack.
I mean, it's nice and petty, which I do enjoy, a good petty story, so it's perfectly fine. Yeah, I mean, I think our only indie filmmaking DIYs. I was just trying to think. In the world of wardrobe, actually, I was helping on this one set that had army uniforms that we got, like very official looking. It looks like you're in, I believe it was Vietnam, if I recall. It's been a couple of years. Maybe the Korean War. It was somewhere between MASH and when MASH aired. Okay. And so the thing is you have these, like, they actually look good and stuff. But we had a guy getting shot, and the film crew never told me that was going to happen. And they got blood, like, all over the only jacket we had of the main character. I know. So a nice DIY is always make sure you have a Tide pen, and so that's a nice thing. And additionally, I have found that a lot of bullet blanks, like the blood things, they do come out pretty easily with water, but it does provide, you have to then like bring a hairdryer to blow it dry. So hairdryer, Tide pen, people, because everyone imagines you have like 6 of every outfit, six of all these options for stunts, and the truth is you have 1. So just plan accordingly. I'm trying to think of anything else for more of the production side of things.
The thing I always wanted to do, and especially when I lived in Pittsburgh and there's a lot of like bridges and tunnels and shit, is I always wanted to, if I needed like a traffic scene, to just have someone's car break down.
That'll do it.
Like have someone like say, Jimmy, you're gonna go and your car's gonna break down, and we're gonna let traffic back up for 5-10 minutes, and then we're gonna come in with the production car and sit in traffic and shoot the scene we need to shoot, and then you'll fix your car.
Yeah, and you'll just have the hood up, and you'll be like, I'm on the phone with AAA.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. They'll be here soon. Just call AAA.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll take them like 45 minutes to get there, so it'll be perfect. That's the trick I always wanted to use, and I never had an opportunity to use it.
So if somebody's watching and they want to try it out, please report back the results and the citations if there are any.
Yeah.
Just out of speculation, we won't pay it, but we will go.
If you know, well, the trick I think you want to do there is you'd want to have Jimmy be someone who knows stuff about cars, and so Jimmy could actually like pull out a spark plug or something.
Yeah, or disconnect the battery wire.
Yeah, something that's like not an obvious fix, but would actually, you wouldn't be able to start the car if you wanted to, and so there's nothing they can really do about it. Like they're not going to give you a ticket for your car actually breaking down.
Okay, good idea. Okay, everybody needs a Jimmy on set.
You have to have a Jimmy on set anyway, because you always need a guy who can do that sort of thing, but legally. And, you need the guy who can fix everything. So.
Absolutely.
My plan with this is to just have a crew of that. Just have 6 or 7 guys.
Get a bunch of Jimmys.
Or girls.
Right.
Whatever, who have done a little bit of everything.
And I was just going to ask, what are you shooting on? What is your kind of like goal for filmmaking? Like, what's your footprint you guys are going to be working with?
I'm not like camera wise.
Yeah, or crew wise.
I have no idea what we're shooting on for the camera because the DP is coming from Mexico and he owns a production house, and so he's just bringing a camera.
Nice.
And I don't think we figured out yet which one.
Nice. Okay.
But he's like, I can whatever we need. So, okay, great.
That's a good guy to know.
Yeah, so we're looking for production wise. I'm trying to call in some favors of some people who I've worked with in the past, who I know can do a lot of different things and are good on DIY sets. Because I don't know the local crew people. I'm sure there's some wonderful local crew people, but I don't know them, and so I don't know that for sure. So I'm trying to get as many of them as I can in who will work for way less than they're worth, just for, September in Maine sort of situation.
Right. Before they have to shovel their driveways.
Yeah, or they just have a hole in their schedule and they're like, oh yeah, this is better than watching Netflix. So yeah, it's sort of like the one grip, and then like the DIT who could also be a grip if you need them to be a grip. Probably like 10-person crew. Our producer's coming in from Vancouver.
Okay.
And then we'll probably get some locals who want to help out, who can be interns and drive trucks and things like that. So we're counting on the beauty of the small town is you get a lot of local help that's inexperienced but willing to help and willing to do fun stuff. And
and they can drive errands or pick people up or
cook meals, stuff like that.
That's good.
And then we're bringing all actors most of our actors are coming in from away, as we say in Maine, and there's a lot of locals playing themselves.
Okay. And when you wrote it, did you kind of cast these people?
I cast all the locals as I wrote it, and it was more a process of going, hey, Rachel. In it. And then Rachel go, oh, do I have to do it? And like, what do I have to do? 3 lines. Okay. I can, all right, I can do that. Or one guy, Sam, I'm like, I need you to just say, fuck you. And he's like, I got it. I'm on it.
It's like,
done.
This has been my...
He's like, this is my dream.
Nice. You know what? I did cast a friend's dogs. Like, I guess that's probably inappropriate to work with pets, but every time I go to his house, his dogs are like behind a fence and they're like, arr! And they rattle the fence and stuff. And I cast that. I'm like, I just need them to do that.
That's perfect. Yeah.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, shoot what you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like my father has an old blue truck, so we're using that's a prop or a vehicle in the movie. So it's a lot of that sort of thing of just looking around. Okay. So I might get what am I pretty sure I can put all that in the movie, make the movie work around all that, and then if I have, like, we have like this really beautiful old church in town, and so there's a scene in there, and so like I don't know that I think I can get the church, but if not, then the scene just moves somewhere else and you rewrite it. And the other day we had to rewrite a chunk of the movie to get an actor. So it's indie film. You're just adapting to. Well, it was partly to get the actor. So we couldn't get the actor in the time frame we needed because we needed to shoot before the leaves changed.
Right.
And because it's summer. But then, so it looked like we weren't going to be able to get her because of another production. We're like, okay, so we'll have to find somebody else. And we started looking for someone else. And then I'm driving to work, and I'm like, motherfucker, the leaves are changing. Like 7 or 8 trees already in mid-April or mid-August. And I'm like, that's not good. That's way too early. I'm like, we're not going to even be able to beat it with our normal plan. Beat the weather, beat the foliage anyway. So we just rewrote the movie to incorporate the fact that it's now fall. And then we got the actors back. So it's, it's one of those things that you have to do.
Wow. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And, a lot of people ask me, they're like, how do I do? I'm sure you get this from people as well. And they're like, how do I make a movie? And it's like, go. Like, you have to go and, somebody else also says if you need another fuck you guy, he's down.
We might need more fuck you guys.
Okay.
You can never have enough fuck you guys.
I love that Maine has at least 2 fuck you guys already. That they're
not even counting me.
Yeah.
And I'm an expert at that.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
I was in a play where all I did was curse at people. I was in the entire play. I just cursed the whole way through.
And were you a lead character, or were you like crazy man?
It was an
in
ensemble.
The
it was about it was a play about the Chicago 8, actually.
Okay.
And I was the bald guy.
Were you bald?
No, but for some reason I wasn't bald, and I was cursing a lot. And I don't think that person cursed a lot because he was a lawyer. So I'm not really sure exactly. I did a lot of research at the time, but
I don't know. I know a lot of lawyers who enjoy foul language. Yeah, so maybe it's just like they know when to use it. Interesting. Yeah, no, I was going to say, you get a lot of people who want to like figure out how to make films. And I think they always imagine like, oh, I've got to go through the studio process, and I've got to, it's got to be a million. I've got to go to film school, which, that's really a big personal choice. I've got to, and it's not indicative of having a career. And it's interesting because they think they have to go through all these steps. But I mean, we're holding in our hands, a more powerful camera than most filmmakers before us would have had access to. Like, I think people always just think that there's something in front of them keeping them from doing it. In reality, it's, as you're saying, it's like, okay, well, how do I get an actress here at this time when I'm going to have everyone else here so we can do it?
It's really just logistics.
It's logistics.
It's logistics and storytelling and screwing up a lot and figuring out what doesn't work. And yeah, I've noticed, because I'm pretty old, so I've noticed that when I wrote this, it came a lot easier. Yeah. Because I just didn't go down a lot of the roads that I used to go down. And I was just like, oh, I don't need any of this shit. So just write it, because you've done the things. And it's not, I didn't go to film school. I took 1 film class in my life. It's, you just start making movies. And I didn't even start early. I started in college.
Yeah.
And you just keep making them. And then you go, oh, well, this didn't work at all.
Yeah. I think
you have to be smart enough to know why it didn't work.
And I think a lot of people just want to skip ahead and be successful, but I think they don't want to have those like learning projects and things like that. My background, my undergrad degree is in biology, so I got my whole degree and I looked at it and I was like, that was really fun to learn those things, but I don't actually want to do it for life. And I worked I think for like 6 months at a water testing lab, and no one tells you how bad labs smell.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. My father worked in one of those. I know.
The microbiology lab smell, I can still smell it, even to this day. And so I was like, well, this is no good. I should have probably done the thing I wanted to do, but I wanted to do the safe thing and go make movies. And it's kind of that thing. I think everybody's sitting there. They think, oh, I have to, do XYZ steps to go make movies. You really have to just start going and making movies, and hopefully learning something from them.
Yeah, you have to be, you have to make them, and then you have to be, because I'm sure you've seen this, there's the people who are convinced that whatever they made is the greatest thing to ever since Citizen Kane, and it's not. You have to be smart enough and, I guess, humble enough or self-aware enough to realize that what you made is probably not very good.
Yes.
And realize that at the time and not 5 years later, so you can go, okay, that didn't work.
What could I have done better?
How could I have done that better? How could I have made that work? And then you just keep improving, and you just keep surrounding yourself with people who know more than you.
And how do you feel about like writing and getting these scripts together that are ready to shoot? Do you feel like you had to kind of stretch your writing abilities and kind of realize like, hey, that's not going to work, or I can't really ask an actor to showcase 6 emotions at once,
Yeah, you have to know that stuff, and it helps if you edit, because then you know what you're not going to need later.
Yeah.
Or you just have a better sense if you write and direct and edit. I feel like because that's just how I do it. It's just a cleaner process. Yeah. And you don't end up being the writer who complains that they butchered your script.
Because you did it. It's you.
Yeah, because you butchered your script. And you got on, and you were the guy who was on set going, oh, this doesn't work at all. This is no good. We can't do this. And, you're there when the actor makes a suggestion that's better than anything that's on the page.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, okay, yeah, well, let's do that. That's way better. Why? Great. Or it might be the craft services guy who makes the suggestion that's better than anything that's on the page. You don't know. And I think really the trick is, just in terms of directing, it's knowing when to say, that is a fantastic idea, but not for this movie.
Yeah. And
knowing when to say, oh, that's fantastic, let's do that. You just have to know, because that's auteurism. It's just knowing what the through line is. Otherwise it becomes a mess where you're just shutting out every idea that isn't yours, and then it just becomes probably pretty bad. Or you're bringing in every idea, and then it just becomes a mess, like one of those improv movies.
Yeah.
Where they're just shouting out lines.
Yeah. I always say, if you try to please everyone, you please no one.
Yeah.
And it's very true. But at the same time, like, I think there's a certain amount of intuition and humility, I think, when you're actually filming, and you realize your line doesn't work, or how it was delivered or what was said is better, to sit there going, like, I kind of owe it to the project and everyone involved to make the best decision, not the me decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's kind of just like detaching yourself from ego and like being the champion of the project, not that it's about you and you getting your way.
Well, here's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
If you're the director and you don't do the ego thing and make the best decision for the project, you're going to get all the credit for it anyway.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. It is
not
funny.
Really that much selfless of a move.
It's not
just to take the best idea, because you're going to get all the credit for it. On a short of mine, the crew member put a red light bulb in a lamp and didn't tell me until we were like ready to shoot. And I was like, oh, that looks cool. Let's do that. And it was the thing that everyone mentioned about the short in every single review. And so we like built everything around. We just like all the marketing materials. We used that light in it. It was,
yeah.
And everyone's like, wow, how did you come up with the idea for the light? And I'm like, the gaffer put it in the thing. He had it on him.
this guy lights. I don't know. That's what he like. He literally came with his own bulbs and did stuff.
Yeah.
Gaffers are wonderful like that. They'll just sit there and like, man, I had a guy. He every time he was on set, he was always like, if somebody left a practical light and production design and they didn't want it, he's like, I'll take it. And I was like, and everyone's like, stop collecting lights.
Oh no, you never know. You might need it.
He might need it. Exactly. He's like, I like it. I'll take it. Of course it belonged to somebody, but he was just like circling it like a shark while people were packing up going, if it's unclaimed, it's mine.
I saw Andy Garcia say that he always collects hats and canes because you never know or the hat that production needs and has to spend a week.
That's probably a good idea. That always takes forever for things like that because as soon as you need, to get the exact right thing, that's always the hard part. So I want to ask you more questions. When you are writing the script and kind of envisioning, I'm going to cast Rebecca and I'm going to cast, not my house because I want to stay married, but some other locations I know.
Somebody else's house.
How do you find you kind of keep your imagination going? How do you keep your producer brain out of your writer brain? I guess that's probably the best thing to ask.
I think the producer brain helps the writer brain.
Okay.
Because it's kind of like the 48-hour film festival, where they give you the thing and it has to have a flashlight in your production. So then you've got to come up with a flashlight and but then you're the writer, so you don't want to just have a flashlight to have a flashlight because that's stupid.
Right.
So then you've got to think of a way to do it organically where it works in the film and doesn't look like you forced a flashlight into the thing.
Right.
So, I mean, they sort of work together. And then,
I agree.
And then you can, as a writer, you can, when you're writing it, go, okay, this is not going to be $100 million movie, so maybe we take the helicopter chase out. Maybe I don't even bother to write the helicopter chase, and they just
because
run.
You're not going to get it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to get it. So maybe they just run, and we
and there's a drone.
Or whatever it is, and I think you just make your limitations look like choices.
The reason I'm asking is I actually just got an offer to teach my first class screenwriting. Ooh. I know. And
you're like, I need all of the suggestions because I'm going to run out halfway through this class.
No, I think it's really interesting is so they're undergrads and they're learning how to write short film, which is a good way, start with something small to see if you can do it before you try to do, the long endurance run of the feature. And so I think it's really good. And a lot of them are, one of the things that they're made to do as a practice is a 3-page, 2-location, 3-page, 2 characters, 1 location. And
but don't make it a mumblecore.
But don't make it a mumblecore. No, but the whole idea is like, okay, these are the only parameters you get. It can be any location, it can be to any characters, and you have to finish it in 3 pages. And it's so interesting to see like people when they're suddenly given those parameters, they suddenly are like, oh, okay, well, if it's going to be in an elevator, I have to stay in an elevator. I have to make the moment in the elevator important. In fact, I have to tell a whole story in an elevator. Right. As soon as people suddenly like get the bare essentials of like what they have to work with, they also make more interesting choices. Hopefully.
Well, the scariest thing is the blank page. So if you hem them in a little bit, then it's less scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because when you look at absolutely. I agree with you. Go on.
When I wrote this, I wrote it because I had another script that I was trying to get made, and it's a bigger thing that takes place like on a road trip. And then I was like, I don't think I want to do that right now for reasons. And so then I was like, well, what can I write that I could shoot this summer and in this town, or at least locally? And so then you just sort of started dialing itself in really quickly just on what do I think I could actually pull off in this time period. And so then you immediately throw out like 95% of the things that you could do.
Yeah.
So then it gets a lot quicker. It's a lot easier to write when you don't have all of human experience to choose from, when you have like 7 or 8 things. And I pretty quickly went, well, it should be like a noir because it's going to be fast and cheap and a little bit dirty. It was either going to be a noir or it was going to be Blue Ruin. It was one of the two. And so it's a little bit of a hybrid of those two things.
Okay. That makes sense. I think it's always good for people to think about that. It's just like use some of the stuff you have. Yeah. Might as well use it to your advantage.
It's like doing Chopped. My wife and I will play Chopped, where one of us will pick 4 ingredients for the other person and they have to make dinner out of it. And then you just sort of have to make it work.
Oh.
But I'm not a cook, so I don't make it work. I just make a mess.
She just laughs at you and then actually makes something edible. I do it too. I'm also a parent.
I'll stop McDonald's.
I'm a parent as well, so sometimes I have kids that are like, "Hey, what's for dinner?" And I open the fridge, and it's like either I have to make this work, or I have to get out of the house and put on hard pants. Hard pants is now our term for outside pants. Yeah. And yeah, I was like, it's a lot of accoutrement. I just can't do it. So the alternative is like figure out what to do with this chicken, and you just gotta figure it out.
Yeah, sure.
So same thing. Well, okay. So anything else you want to cover or discuss?
No, we should probably wrap it up. It's been like an hour. The timer says.
Yeah, and
That's
you know what?
Good. People are watching.
My email inbox just sent me a notification that the nickel results just went out. So
well, then there you go.
Nobody is going to be looking at this in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, everyone's like, nope, done. We're done. All right. So how much time do you have left on your campaign? And you're at 80%, right?
Yes, we are 80%. We have 20 days left. Obviously, we're going to also do a stretch goal where we were going to get more things for our project. So we hope to go to 80 to 100 and beyond. Sure. And please, at least bare minimum, become a follower, because that helps us unlock a lot of promotions on Seed and Spark and film festival waivers and stuff. So you can literally do good by just clicking the follow button and doing nothing else. At the same time, Lucas, let's talk about you and your project. You said you have 8 days left.
7+ days.
7+ days.
We are $7 from 40%. So someone can make that happen right now to get us to 40%. And then, of course, with crowdfunding, the tipping point is 30% with some time to spare. So obviously, you don't want to hit 30% on the final day. But so 40% with 7 days left is pretty good. It's going to take a push. So I'm about to get real annoying on social media, and I apologize in advance for that. But then we're going to get to 45, and then we're going to make the thing, and it's going to be fun. So people can go to mainnoir.com, and that will take you directly to the Seed and Spark page. Awesome. And they can also following works there. We have 204 followers and 187 backers.
Congratulations.
So we got a good base to push from.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, we are Delivery on Seed and Spark, or on our Twitter. You can find all our information at delivery_film. Cool.
All right. I think that'll do it. Thank you for doing this.
Absolutely. Let's do a high five. I think you're this direction, right? Nope. This. There we go.
Look at that. That was terrible.
Well, it was the first take. Let's do it again.
All right, I'll do the other hand. Wait.
Okay. No, you got to go from this way. Yeah.
Wow, this is hard to do.
Yeah. There you go. High five.
That was better. It was better, but still bad. All right.
This is why you need practice. This is the lesson to everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
All right. Cool. All right. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
I'm going to end the stream.
All right. Bye.